Good morning, friends. Today I shall discuss about a great personality and his witness and encounter with consciousness. His name is Federico Faggin. He is an Italian-born American scientist, and he was born in Italy in a small town called Vicenza in 1941. Later in 1968, he migrated to USA States. And right from very beginning, he was a bright child. He was very good in studies and has great interest in science and electronics. Obviously, he went on to experiencing various books on electronics and all those things, and whereby his inclination chalked out the pathway in front of him. He went along with that path, and after his education and higher education, he got a job in wonderful companies like Fairchild, like Intel, then Zilog, then Synaptics. And the astounding thing is that he has invented a microprocessor, first commercial microprocessor that was in the company he was working was Intel. So in Intel, he invented Intel's 4004 microprocessor. That was the first commercial microprocessor in the world. So he continued over there and invented the series further by the name 8008, 8080, Zilog, Zylox Z80, etc. And some of you who are technical or who have got electronics background may be knowing about all these things. And engineering graduate students study this microprocessor 8080 in their final years. So this is a very common thing, but very, very complicated thing in the field of electronics, which he had invented, and world followed. Now, after this, he went on to making a computer with a consciousness. Up, then what happened? He tried to understand the because he had to make the computer conscious. He tried to study biology, and he pursued various classes and studies through books and libraries apart from his job, and he did extensive work, extensive labor. He put extensive labor and extensive hard work to study these biochemical bioelectrical signals, the neural path, the brain activity, how brain works, how consciousness generates, etc., etc. So during that time, he already had lot of name, fame, lot of luxuries, lot of money, पैसा बरस रहा था. So and he was very happy in his family life also. So there was no reason to be unhappy, but he was unhappy. He was unhappy for a long time, and he was not able to understand why. This was the thing which haunted him every time, that I have got everything in life what a person needs, wants, and of my caliber, I have got plenty, more than enough. Still, I am why I am unhappy. This question haunted him always. Anyway, he once had a vacation in California in Tahoe Lake, near Tahoe Lake. And there he stayed with his family for a vacation. Then one night, all of a sudden, what happened that he felt as though he is feeling too warm, too hot, and somehow he asked for a glass of water, drank, and everybody slept, would have slept. And then all of a sudden he had a great experience. He felt as though a white scintillating light is emerging from him, and that light is a kind of pulsation or twinkling of stars. Previously it was 1 or 2 feet of diameter, and later on it started expanding, and it expanded to a whole world. So he himself saw as a whole world, and he saw himself as a whole world as well as himself also. In Hindi we call it drishta hi drishya ban gaya. So these are the things which changed his life. He was having a total materialistic approach in his life, and now all of a sudden he felt that consciousness is not what he was thinking. It is much much deeper than what he thought and what other scientists think. So he changed his approach totally. And after that he found a foundation called Dream Foundation, whereby he did lot of research, and he is still doing, and has in that foundation you can also participate into interact with your, if you are of a same inclination, I mean if you are interested into consciousness. So that is in public domain. All these things which I am telling you is already in public domain. There is nothing much to say, but I wanted to emphasize onto his experience which he felt about consciousness, and that was very important, because in India and in the whole world we think it a kind of a hallucination. We never take it as so seriously that it can happen, this experience can happen with somebody. We simply say, oh, that saint would have had, but we don't know how come he had all these things, and we don't believe in it. People really don't believe in it unless and until they themselves have experience of such thing. You might have heard about a book, an autobiography of a yogi by Paramhans Yoganand. In that book also, he had narrated his experience about feeling this kind of experience. Once upon a time, he at the ashram of his Guruji emphasized that I want to go to Himalayas. I am not happy. His Guruji insisted, by if you want to progress into spiritual life, there is no need to go to Himalayas. Stay here and do practice, and automatically you will have a self realization. He was very stubborn, Yogananji. Ultimately, one day he did something to him, his Guruji, and all of a sudden he felt like he is in a samadhi. And he had narrated whole thing in that book. You can go and study that book. You will experience, you will feel that the experience is quite similar. What Federico Faggin faced or experienced, it is a similar experience. He became himself. He himself became the world, Yogananji, and he said that I was seeing whole world in front of me, at the back of myself, in front of myself. I can see whole ashram. I can see whole world, and like Federico Faggin said that it was such a joyful experience. He never felt it in his life before. It was full of love, full of joy, full of peace, and had an, I mean, he said that it is his words that when that light, boom, it came out of his heart, his body, he started feeling a blissful experience, very very peaceful, very very loving, and he never had that kind of love and joy and peace in his life. And all of a sudden he became so peaceful, happy, so content, and he forgot all those unhappy tenure of his life. So that experience totally changed him. And he started the approach of consciousness with the help of his technical background. So what he floated, his theory was called as CIP, that is consciousness, information, and physical. Consciousness is something which he stated that, like quantum physics, like quantum field, there is a underlying reality which is called as consciousness field, which is the basic field. And it too, this consciousness field too has a kind of wave, underlying wave, invisible wave, and that wave contains free will also. And as somebody uses his free will, then that field gets collapsed, and he can materialize whatever he wants to achieve or see, or whatever he is doing. So in that way, it was quite analogous to quantum field theory, but altogether it was different in this way, that on the grassroots level, on the baseline level, it was consciousness field. So we should say it was just like quantum field theory. This was a consciousness field theory. And particles at micro level, extreme micro level, like quarks and all those things, if you go beyond that, they become vibrations, nothing else, they become field. And when the observer observes it, tries to measure it, it becomes a particle. Similarly, he gave the analogy of consciousness, that actually this happens. Consciousness is the basic field. It generates all those kind of experiences. Whenever we apply our free will, we feel all those qualia. The world is quite popular in the West for conscious experience. This term is called as qualia. Qualia means, if you feel, supposing you are smelling a rose, so what is, you can describe that flower, but how can you describe the scent of rose? That is called experience, that is called qualia. So similarly, there are a lot of emotional experiences which cannot be empirically defined. They cannot be measured. However, Federico Faggin gave a kind of conscious units. I don't know, because it is you have to go in great depth to understand all those things, and I don't think that is required. My main emphasis was to explain you, to narrate you the experience he had about consciousness, which changed his approach from materialistic approach altogether to a different way to understand this universe. And now he is available everywhere in a public domain. You can hear him anywhere, and he is a great man. He is a great man. He, whenever he try to listen him, he explains all his experiences so merrily, so happily, and so contentfully. So this was the today's episode about Federico Faggin. Hope you would like it, and if you like it, just try to comment and like it and subscribe my video. Thank you. Jai Hind.